Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Knit Chat Cafe. My name's Noelle.
I'm Kelly.
And we're coming to you from a beautiful day in southwestern Ontario.
Absolutely gorgeous day.
Like finally, it feels like spring. Well, it almost feels like summer. It almost felt like summer.
Okay, my small complaint though, it's crazy windy out there today.
It was
crazy windy out there today.
It was actually less windy this morning, and then as the day went on, it got a lot windier. But I did knit outside for a while, so that was nice. And yeah, welcome everybody. We hope that you have nice weather wherever you are. We know we've got a mix of seasons because we've got some people in our half of the world and people in the other half of the world. So, but we hope wherever you are, it's good weather. Yeah, so welcome. This is our regular Tuesday night get together with our friends, share our knitting, just have a little chat. I see people are filling up their wine already. Who did you say? What did you say, Kelly?
There was a comment in here from Mary, and I wanted to put it at the beginning, and she said something really, and then I lost it. It said something really cute about, she's like, I just had to fill up my wine glass. I don't know where the first glass went.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, I know, right? I think it's happened to all of us, if we're being honest. Yes. Yeah. You get doing something fun, and then that wine just goes down so much faster, right?
Yeah.
So much faster.
Yeah. So, yeah. So welcome everybody. We should say this, we are a knitting podcast and we are in Canada, and our regular channel is called Knits and Pieces, but we do this every Tuesday night and we call it the Knit Chat Cafe because we're just with our bestie knitting friends and getting together in just for, a little drinking whatever you want to drink and working on your projects. So
good. Janet's in here and she says, thank you for the book recommendation. She read The Women. Oh, such a good book.
Well, I just have it on hold.
Well, you're going to be on hold for a while. I was on hold for a while. Okay. It's worth the wait.
If I get really desperate, I'll just buy it.
It's very good.
Right now I have some other things to read. So
yes.
Yeah. So I today it had to be a new first, I think. Frankie was in here at 7:00 this morning. I was already up, but I didn't see the comment at 7:00. But that's awesome that everybody's getting ready and sharing their projects. And it's so nice to see everybody talking about what they're working on. And yeah, so we're glad to be here. We have a special guest tonight, but that will be in the second half of our show. So we should go through so that because we tend to get talking a lot. Maybe we should get started.
Maybe we should. Yes. So we have some things.
We do.
What do you want to start with?
So did you have any questions?
I had some follow-ups from last week. One of the things that we were talking about last week was the 2 16-inch needles, using those to do some socks. And I sort of gave a quick little on-screen demo of how I would do that and how you could do that too. And so then there were a group of suggestions afterwards on what they do that's a little bit different. And I think that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. So Kim said one of the things that we talked about was how to avoid ladders. And she said that what she does is she leaves. So when I talked about pulling those stitches off the back needle, and then, you slide it through. So I said, some people experience laddering going up the side because the circumference of the cable is smaller than that of the needle. So what she does to account for that is she doesn't pull her needle through until she's knit that first stitch on the front needle. Okay. So, and she's using a third needle, or quite a few people were talking about using a third needle so that they don't make the mistake of pulling the wrong needle out and leaving live stitches just hanging out there to dry. So they use a third needle, which means that they're not going through and pulling through to use both ends of the same one. They're always using that extra needle. So I thought that was a really good suggestion too. So that's what I had based on last week. I haven't seen any new ones.
Okay, there was one question just about what double dipping meant. So in the
it doesn't mean the things you do with potato chips when you're only amongst your family. That's not what we're talking about.
So in the realm of knit-alongs, double dipping means you can enter it in more than one knit-along. So any of our knit-alongs, you are welcome to double dip, triple dip, however many times you want. So we are happy to spread it out wherever you can find another giveaway or another knit-along going along, then enter that project.
Okay. Was there anything else knitting related?
There was one more thing. There was a question about when you're knitting bottom up as opposed to top down, because you get to here and then you've got to do the armhole. So they were wondering on how to judge that armhole depth when you're going like bottom up. So I would say, first of all, get a sweater that you like, where the armhole depth is and your body length is, measure that. And then you can, even if you need to make it longer than what the project actually calls for, usually when you're doing that, you've got, when you're going bottom up, you're going to go here and then you're going to have decreases kind of to shape out this armhole. So the only thing that you might need to do, because usually you get to a certain point and then you're just knitting straight up. If it's like a set in sleeve, sort of like normal armhole. So where you've got the decreases, you might just want to spread them out a little bit if your row gauge is really different than what the pattern row gauge is. But you can almost again, you can kind of look at the sweater that you've got that you like it and kind of measure where all those decreases go and kind of space them out on your current project to match that.
And not every pattern will give you this firstly, not every pattern will give you a schematic.
No.
I like a schematic. A good pattern, in my opinion, has a schematic. And then even once you have the schematic, not everyone will give you that measurement from that armhole up to here. They often will give you like the measurement from the top of the shoulder to the waist, the finished edge of the sweater, or it will give you like the arm circumference. What I think is a great measurement to see on a pattern is that actual measurement from the armhole. Especially if you're doing a raglan construction, from the armhole up to that neckline, to see what that diagonal line is. I think that's a really good measurement to include. And not every one of them have that. So it kind of leaves you guessing. Something that you should know before you go into sweater making too is measure one of your successful raglan sweaters and kind of get a feel for what that measurement is for you. So you sort of know where you are on the pattern as well.
Yeah, and sometimes you might have to do like a little bit of math, because they might give you the whole length of the garment and then they might give you this, and then you can figure out what it is from here to here just by doing the math to figure out what depth that is. But again, even though you get that, you need to look at what works for you.
That's right.
So, and it's not even got to do with, because Kelly and I have found this out, it's not necessarily even got to do with your total overall height, because a lot of our sweaters, if it's a crop, is the same here.
Yes.
Even though like you're 8-9 inches taller than me. So, for everybody it's different. So you kind of got to figure out your own measurements. And in a pattern that doesn't necessarily give you, let's say the pattern doesn't give you that measurement, but it does give you, telling you to knit so many rows, you can figure out what that measurement should be by taking the number of rows and dividing it by the row gauge that's given in the pattern. And then you can figure out how many inches that should be. So sometimes you have to work backwards a little bit. I mean, a really good pattern will have a full schematic and give you the measurements that you need, but some just assume that you'll figure it out too. So, okay. So that was basically all of the questions that I had.
There's one more in here that Helen asked. She wanted to know if my secret spot for eclipse watching was successful. So I didn't have a specific spot in mind, but I had a specific area that I knew that we were headed to. And in order for us to get into totality, because like Noelle was not in totality, where I live we were on, I was on the cusp. So I knew that I had to head further south. And so for me, that was towards the Chatham area. We ended up heading all the way across over to Leamington, or we went past Leamington and we went down firstly to Erio Beach, and there was us and I don't know, maybe like 10,000 other people on Erio Beach. So I said to Mike, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. So we turned around, and this is funny because this I swear only I would think of this, is that we had passed this really quaint little tiny country cemetery up on a hill surrounded by these beautiful trees. So we actually went up into that cemetery at the very back of it, up on the top of the little hill where there were actually no graves, but we had this beautiful little secluded spot. We had these great, tall evergreens in behind us, sheltered any of the wind. And we just sat there. We packed a picnic. We were there for the entirety of it. And we had the best afternoon. How many other people were in the cemetery with us? None. Well, none that were walking and talking. Nobody living was with us. So honestly, it was like the nicest day. We had a great day. I did get some pictures. I didn't get anything great and stellar. I'm clearly rusty with my camera, or also I was too cheap to go and buy a proper solar lens. So I was DIYing it. So I wasn't 100% thrilled, but you know what? I enjoyed my day. We had the best time. We had like I said, we had snacks up there. We had music. Didn't have any knitting time because I had a 5-minute interval set on that camera. So I was popping up every 5 minutes to do a shutter release. And then it got really dark. It got very cold.
Yeah.
And then it was over. It was over.
We didn't get like total here anyway, but the temperature when things kind of got to the maximum really did drop. So
Sweater Weather says that they went to a little cemetery to watch it as well. It was great. It was fantastic. We had the best day. It was just a lovely day. And I will not forget where I was during that eclipse. Right. Very good. Okay.
Okay. So we should move on to what we're wearing.
Okay.
So
do you want to start?
And I'll find.
Oh, okay. I've got a picture in here.
Okay.
So I'm wearing the Heartwarmer Tee by Justina Lorkowska. I made this last year. It is quite warm here today, as Noelle was pointing out, but down in my basement here, it's a little chilly. I was down here working on the computer this afternoon, and I was actually wrapped up in a shawl. So it's not as warm here as it was outside. I love this sweater. I made this using the Sonder Yarns Sunday morning 4-ply, which is a fingering. And this colorway is called Free Spirit. And I made this before, did I make this one just before Knit City? I'm trying to think. Maybe not. Maybe it was, no, that was the V-back one last year. But I did make it, I think, kind of around that time. I actually wear it a fair bit. I have it on today I've got a little dress underneath, so it's quite cropped as you saw in the photo. And it has a lot of interest in the sweater. The sleeves are just stockinette, but every little section in the sweater was something different. So it's kind of like a sampler sweater. Yeah. And I really like working on things like that. Yeah. Absolutely. Like you just don't want it to stop. And there's quite a few sweaters that have come out, like the Somer Knus comes to mind. Yep. Beth McDonald's Deep Dean was another one, like where you're doing something different as the sweater progresses. And I really like that because it doesn't give you any opportunity to get in any way bored with what you're working.
It doesn't give you that long stocking up body to have to knit.
No. And I also have to say that I absolutely adore the Sonder yarn base. This is such a beautiful base to work with. It felt amazing in my hands. The depth of color in every single one of her skeins is just incredible. I liked it so much. I had leftover, and then I bought more to go with it for a colorwork sweater, which I haven't knit yet. And who knows, we'll, it doesn't matter. It's in stash and I love it.
It's and that color is beautiful. Well, like you said, I don't think you can go wrong with their colors.
No. So. Oh, thank you, Lisa. She said that we're both wearing sweaters that suit our complexions. So I do feel really good in this color. I will admit it's like a beautiful rhubarby berry color. And I always feel kind of brighter in it than some of the other color choices that I have.
I know. It's like, sometimes it's, you get drawn to colors for a reason.
That's right. And, you keep going back, right? And it's a color that I feel really comfortable in. And it's just like you with that coral. It is a gorgeous color on you. It's really pretty.
So, Ross said it was pink. I'm like, this is not pink.
That's clearly not pink. Not at all.
Okay, so I am wearing the Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow. So I just finished it, and today was a perfect day to wear it. I've got the windows open in my family room. Nope, that's not it. The window's open in my family room, and it's perfect. So this is done in the Knitting Loft's new base, which is called Cardi, which is a 50% hemp, 50% merino, and it is a DK weight. So the Toasted Tea originally, her DK version, she knits it at a 17 or a 17 and a half stitch gauge. I don't really like DK yarn that loose because I find I catch things. I'm clumsy. I catch things. It pulls. So I'd rather have a little bit tighter of a gauge. So I've knit this at a 20 stitch gauge, and I just did the math and figured out the size that I needed to make. And my stripes are, again, it's a Knitting Loft yarn. It's called Twinkle. And it's got like a strand of kind of like a silky thread going through it. And then it's got little, really, really small sequins running through it, but you can't feel them. But when you're out in the sun, they kind of, the light just reflects off it, and it's a really pretty effect. So the Twinkle comes in 50-gram little cakes. So this is less than one cake. And then the sweater itself was 2 skeins of the DK in the Cardi yarn. And I love the sweater. I can see making more of them. It's a well-written sweater. You can adjust it to whatever you want. It's a raglan. So, you know, there are people that have done it that have started the stripes up here and done them all the way down. There are people that have done an eyelet section all the way through. People have lengthened the sleeves, shortened the sleeves. You know, there's
it's a blank canvas. You can do what you want to do with it. I really like what you've done with it. I like where you started the stripes.
And I know that it included in the pattern too, if you get the pattern, she also does include instructions for using a fingering weight to do it. And I believe that the fingering weight gauge is 24 stitches. And you can also, even in the pattern, she's got a whole PDF that's got different people that have made it and the variations that they've done in it, so that you can get some ideas.
Nice, very nice. Well.
Yeah. So, okay.
There may be one in my future. I love it. I really do
there will definitely be more. And it's a fast knit because it's, you know, just short sleeves. And so.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay. So do you have any finishes?
No, I just wanted to show this comment before we go.
Okay.
Jeannie said she had a knitter's thrill today. 2 young women at Costco Optometry both admired her hand knit sweater. She said it happens every time she wears it. Is it the Aaliyah sweater?
Aaliyah? Yeah, that's nice. Very nice. We'll have to
I'm going to write that one down because
write that one down.
Know what? Yeah.
We need to know.
Yeah. I want those compliments when I go to Costco.
We need to know. Okay.
We have do we want to do our...
Yes, let's do that first.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Okay. So I had forgotten to do this last week, so this was totally on me. In our Advent along, we are doing each quarter a random draw from the comment section. And I forgot that. I totally forgot that. I was so busy drawing for the socks and for the vest, and I completely forgot about the Advent along that I had a little task to do. So
here, I'll pull up do you have the
yes, I do. So what we decided to give away for the first quarter is a lovely bag to put your Advent project in while you work on it throughout the year. And I love this bag. It's very sheepy.
I like that one. It's very sheepy. And I love the color of it, actually.
It's a gorgeous color, and it has a little bit of dark blue handles. These bags are made for us by our friend Sandy, and she donates these to the podcast. They have an inside zippered pocket as well. And as well as
an outside pocket,
as well as this pocket, and they're super huge and roomy. They also have a vinyl bottom, so that if you're putting the bag down somewhere, it's easily wipeable. And it's a gorgeous bag. It's big. It will hold anything you need to squeeze into there because it's very spacious. Okay, so the random winner for the first quarter is
Sue. Sue adores knitting. So, and she was post number 299, and she'll have lots of room in that bag to put together all the stuff that she's doing to make her granny square Afghan.
Yes, she will for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
So congratulations, Sue.
I think if I remember too, when I was reading her chat about this blanket, she hopes to do 4 of these blankets by next year. She loves this pattern. And I think it's really pretty. I like how the snowflakes look lacy, like they, the way she's bordered them in the white. I think they look really, really pretty and delicate. So congratulations, Sue. Thank you for joining us in our little Advent along. And I want to see that one finished for sure. I can't wait to
Yeah.
see that one in December in the finished projects. So, okay, good. You pulled that up.
Okay.
Where you can get a hold of us to send that bag out is knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com. If you send us a message there, Sue, then with your full name and your mailing address, then I will get that bundled up and mailed out to you as soon as we hear from you.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So, do you have any finishes?
No.
Okay.
I was chuckling away at all of the comments that were going on in the pre-show, people guessing how many Noelle had, how many I had. I really let Wendy down. Wendy predicted I might have 2 pairs of socks finished and a sweater. And you know what? I don't know where the week went. I swear. I even woke up today thinking, what day is this today? Is this a Saturday or is this a weekday? I got baffled. I don't know if maybe I spent too much time in the eclipse yesterday and I kind of baked my brain or what, but I mean, there was definitely not very much knitting time happening yesterday. The eclipse and the travel to and from and finding a nice spot pretty much took up the day. And so there wasn't much knitting time then. And I don't know. I mean, I do have a sock that I was working on, but we're going to show that later when Nancy's here. So, and then I mostly just worked on my my mid-ocean tee that I'm working on. So, but I didn't get it finished. No finishes.
Okay. Okay. So I have 3.
Okay.
So 2 of them I don't have because I've already gifted them, but I do have some pictures. So the first one was Isla's birthday this past week. Isla and my son, her dad, have the same birthday. So we went out for dinner with them on the Sunday. And the thing that Isla asked for her birthday was another pair of feet teeth socks.
Hard to say no to that. That's a pretty simple request, right?
Yeah, that's what she wanted for her birthday. So I cast on another pair and she was thrilled with them. So this pair is, and again, this is Feet Teeth Socks. It is by Summer Lee Designs. And this particular pair was done in the fluorescent pink is Leo and Roxy's Basics in pink flamenco. And then the color, the variegated color is Blue Moon Fibers Socks That Rock Lightweight in the colorway Goodbye Kitty. So it's kind of got like a little bit of black and gray and some pink and a little bit of turquoise. And like, honestly, these socks are the perfect way to use up leftover sock yarn. Like I didn't use a whole ball of anything. Like I think I bought a ball of red because I just needed a ball of red, but this is the 7th pair that I've done and the red still hardly looks like there's anything out of the skein. So perfect for using up bits and pieces. And again, I think someone had suggested it one of the weeks that we were in here that they would make perfect mitts for kids. So I think next year, so I think next year I'm going to do some of the mitts, but yeah, really fun, cute, easy, knits up fast. At least when you're doing kid sizes, they knit up fast. So
yes, very cute.
Okay, so that's my first. And then my second finished object is a little cardigan that I was doing for a friend of mine and her 2 granddaughters. So this is the Flutter Bee cardigan by Kitty Winks Knits. So this is the second one that I did. So this one, well, they were both done in Lion brand woolies. I believe that color is called Blush Heather. And then it's just got the purple, I think is called Raindrops up at the top. And then I've got a picture of the 2 of them. So I kind of did them opposite. Like the older one was the dark purple with the pink through it. And then the smaller one was the pink with the purple through it. So, and I did them like I did them bigger. The Lion brand woolies is chunkier than what the pattern actually calls for. So again, I just adjusted. So the pink one is about like a 12 to 18 month size. And the other one is about a size 3-4. So, and I always do the sleeves a little bit longer so that they can roll them up at first and, get at least maybe 2 seasons out of it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And then my
before you move into your third, I just want to, because I don't want to lose this comment. Yep. Amber had a comment. Sarah already answered it. Thank you, Sarah. But I just wanted to say this out loud in case there were other people watching that can't see the comments. Amber said that she finished 16 pairs of socks this year and she's just joining us and the sock along, and she wants to
Wow.
know if she can add all of the pairs in now. Yes, absolutely. If you finish
Yes.
them this year, add them all
That's
in.
right. Just put them
That
in.
goes for anybody else that's joining in too. And then from here on out, just add them in as you finish them. But 16 pairs is pretty impressive. Pretty impressive for sure.
Yeah.
And
So
I also want to say hello to Jane Hodgett, who is joining us for the first time from
Hi,
Sydney,
Jane.
Australia. Hi, Jane. Okay, back to you, Noelle.
Okay. The third finished object is my vest number 2 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. You better cover your eyes.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. I am ready for you,
Do you have your eclipse glasses?
No, I brought my sunglasses.
So this is my vest number 2, and it is bright. So
it is bright. It's very bright
here. But look, it looks good with a white shirt underneath it.
It looks amazing. I love
it. So
very
there's one picture, and there's just like a little bit different view of it. So I really like it. It was fun to knit. It's very well, the pattern is very well written. It was done with Leo and Roxy. This is their this is their natural sock, which is 80% non-superwash wool and 20% nylon, held with their silk mohair, both in the pink flamenco colorway. And it is bright. And it was basically in this size, it was one skein of each. So, and you know what? I actually tried it on with just like a bra underneath it, and actually looks not bad, just as like a little top that you could wear with like a blazer over top of it or a jean jacket over top of it.
I would say you might want a little summer color before you tried that.
Well, yeah.
Because I think that amount of bright would really make a person look pale if you don't have any color underneath it, but it is so pretty. It's really pretty.
So it's got really, really, really pretty details at that, probably blowing out.
Which are not even showing, it's blowing out. Yeah.
Is it?
It's so bright. Oh, maybe. No.
Can you see it a little?
Yeah, yes, there I can. There we go.
It's got really pretty details at the shoulder on how she does the shoulder construction. So this kind of gives you your height at the back neck without doing short rows back and forth across. So it was really a really neat construction. So, okay. So.
Okay. Well, are we ready? I heard the doorbell. I don't know if you heard the doorbell.
Yes.
I heard the doorbell. Are we ready to bring in our guest this evening?
Yeah.
Let me go get the door.
Okay. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Oh, there we go.
There.
I just brought my knitting in. I figured you guys were going to show your whips, and I was just going to sit here and knit and hang out for a little bit while you were chatting.
Well, we never knit, because anything we knit while we're talking, we have to rip back and knit over.
That's why I just put mine down.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is Nancy Wheeler. She is Knit Sip Happy on Instagram and Knit Sip Happy podcast on YouTube. And she is an amazing sock designer. And we're going to talk about some of her socks today. So thanks for coming on, Nancy. And we've got lots of people here who are really excited about meeting you. And you've got your signature wine there.
Of course I do.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bubbly. Not champagne bubbly, just Michael Bublé bubbly.
I had to go with rosé because I know Kelly's yarn is rosé themed, so I had to go with the theme.
Yes.
My yarn.
Yes, Noelle's. Well, mine is rosé colored as well.
Mine is called rosé day.
Yes.
So
mine's more of a champagne pink, but it's all good.
It's all the same. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
So Nancy, why don't you tell us a little bit about your current design that's out and kind of how it started? And
yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
I am a long-time watcher of this podcast. I just very rarely catch it live because it's a little later where I'm on the East Coast. I'm just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. So it's 8:30 my time in the evening. And I'm usually in my pajamas with my glasses and no makeup.
Well, I have pajama pants on.
So, if you know me at all, I am an obsessed sock knitter. I started designing socks a couple of years ago. The current pattern that is out is my second fundraiser for breast cancer research, called Titty Gaga. Just a silly made up word that I came up with just to I wanted it to be something fun, because, you know, the subject isn't necessarily fun, but I like a little cheeky. I like a little double entendre. I like a little saucy. So yeah, this has been out since last Friday. All the proceeds for the first week and a bit are going to Canadian Breast Cancer Research. I also included Tits Up, which was last year's, the first design that I had done for breast cancer research, and it was a huge success. So I had to have a sequel, and this is what's happening right now. And Noelle had asked me yesterday, why April for breast cancer?
Yeah.
I thought that's a very good question, because it should be October, because that is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Well, it's not necessarily that it should be any month, but we just wondered if there was a significance
why?
to April. That's all.
Because when I started last year with Tits Up, this is a reference to the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel series, and the final season was launching April 2023, and I had this yarn in my stash by yarns from Annie Perrin that I got at Knit City Montreal in 2022, and I really thought I needed to knit it up. And it's one of my favorite TV shows. It's very sweary and very saucy, but hilarious. And all of my patterns, the first week is always donated to a charity of whatever I feel like doing, or whatever I feel like fits, either seasonally or with the pattern. And this one with the name just had to be breast cancer. It's more about, and I like the message behind it as well. When the two characters say to each other, "Tits up," it's about uplifting each other and supporting each other. And you go, girl, you know, you've got this, just give it your best. And I loved that feeling behind it as well. So that was how it all started. And here we are a year later doing it again, and it's stronger and better. And we've raised so much money already. I'm thrilled, and we're not done yet.
Great to hear. Great to hear.
Well, and plus this year you're partnered with Deborah, right, from Yarn Indulgences.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about the yarn?
Yes. So Deborah at Yarn Indulgences died. I'm off. This is opposite to my normal setup. I'm tilting the wrong way. So this beautiful yarn is also called Titty Gaga. My friend Deborah at Yarn Indulgences is a very talented dyer. She brought in a new sock base. It's a bamboo sock base, and it's scrumptious and squishy. And she is donating $10 from every skein sold of this also to breast cancer research. And she sold out of her stock in 48 hours. Wow. And now currently has a pre-order up in her shop for this that will be dyed starting next week, because we've got a festival coming up this weekend. So those are in yarnindulgences.com.
I'll link all that underneath. Yes. And usually our show notes aren't up till like a day after, but that information, like your patterns and Deborah's information, I'll put right under the video so that people can access it right away.
Yeah. So. And we're fundraising until Saturday, April 13th. So after that, the patterns go back to me, and Deborah, the yarn goes back to her as well. So Saturday, April 13th, we're still fundraising until then. So if you need a new sock in your life, if you have somebody you'd like to gift it to, all donations are greatly appreciated.
Great.
Okay, so do we want to maybe set up the giveaway now, and then we can just let it run? It doesn't have to be on the screen. We can set it up. So like Kelly and I would really like to support the cause too. So we're going to give away tonight. We're going to give away four patterns of either the Tits Up or the Titty Gaga.
Titty Gaga, yeah.
So we'll draw 4 random people, and then they can respond to us. Again, we'll put the email address up, let us know which one they want, and we'll make sure that pattern gets gifted to you. So we would like you to type in #KnitSipHappy. So if anybody's interested in winning one of the patterns, and again, the proceeds from it will go to the breast cancer research, just get on there and type in #KnitSipHappy. So, and then while we're collecting those comments, I've got a few other pictures, and Nancy, you can talk about a little bit more, maybe like where I know the Tits Up one, the original one.
I just have to interrupt.
The idea. Yep. Sorry.
You are collecting them, right, in the background?
Yes. Oh,
okay.
Yes. Can you not see it?
I can't see it because it's your screen share. I just want to make sure that you've clicked on the right.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Very good. Very good. All right. Sorry.
The printing is very small, but yes, they are collecting. So, but Nancy, how you originally, like, did you get the name Tits Up first or the yarn?
The yarn, well, the show came first, my love of the show. Then I bought the yarn at Knit City. The yarn was actually called Midge, which is one of the characters, the main character.
Yes. Yep.
And I knew I wanted to knit a boob themed sock because it just seemed, so I was scouring stitch dictionaries for any circular motifs.
Right.
And yeah, and something that's fun to knit. I like an easily memorizable rhythmic pattern. I don't want to have to keep referring back to the written pattern. I like to be able to read my knitting. I like engaging, not boring.
Yes.
You know, vanilla bores me to tears. I end up on Instagram or Pinterest or Ravelry and not on my knitting. So I like a little something going on, but not too much. So, and that for me does that. Yeah. Okay. So for me, I've got to love knitting it. If I don't love knitting it, it doesn't go any further.
Right. And I know I've heard you say on your podcast before too, that it takes me long, and I'm with you, it takes me longer to knit a vanilla pair than to knit a pair that's got a pattern in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you definitely need to have something to keep your interest.
Yes. Keep the brain involved in what you're doing and not wandering off going, hey, well, what's happening over there? Or
squirrel.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to pop up some pictures here so people can get a better idea. Hopefully these pictures will show up well, but this is the Tits Up sock. And I think they went to New York, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, we had a fun time this time last year touring around New York, and we my daughter and I went to see musicals. We saw 4 shows in 4 days and toured around through the day and had to hit some of the Mrs. Maisel scenery. So the things in Central Park, and yeah, it was a hoot. We had a great time.
Okay, so that's you can see the pattern, the stitch pattern there on the sock, and then there's just like a front view, so you've got the columns going down. Yeah. So it's I'm knitting them right now, and they are very enjoyable to knit. And it is like pretty much once you've done the first pattern repeat, you don't need the pattern anymore.
Yeah, and it's a simple little 1x1 twisted stitch, and there's a video tutorial in the pattern to support that if you'd like to try doing it without a cable needle. It's super easy to do, and it's just a fun little rhythmic swoop and dive, and poof, there you go. Your stitches are twisted, and you got boobs.
Yep. So at least in one place. Okay, and then the other pair that's in the fundraiser are your current pair this year. So these are the Titty Gaga, correct?
Titty Gaga. Yes. I know we're so used to using the Holst yarn, which is Titty Gaga.
I know I keep calling them Titty Gaga.
I know. And I think that might have been where I went with it. I think that's where I started, because I've also knit with Titty Gaga and really enjoyed it. And when I was just, like I said, I was looking for something nonsensical, really, because I couldn't come up with anything else that didn't, like I said, I wanted cheeky. I didn't want anything to make any, ladies who had mastectomies who don't have boobs anymore. I didn't, because I was thinking, of buxom and, all kinds of booby phraseology, and it just didn't fit what I was looking for. So I had to make it up.
Well, I think this one's got the nice little detail of the pattern going down the back seam of the sock too. Yeah.
Yes. Anybody see nipples?
Well, I do now.
My testers, when we were doing Tits Up last year, I've got a great bunch of testers, great bunch of ladies. And, the famous hashtag that came up out of our test knit group was hashtag, can you see my tits in this yarn? Because we got a text, we got a message in the group going, can you see the tits in this yarn? I think it might be too busy. Do I need to change yarns? And I'm like, that's the hashtag. That's it. We've got the hashtag.
Yeah. So fun. So fun. Okay, so maybe we'll draw the first 2 here.
Okay.
So
good luck, everybody.
Are we ready? Good luck, everybody. We have 241 entries here. So
wow.
Okay, so stitch or girl stitches.
Pink confetti and everything.
Yeah.
We don't mess around, Nancy. We don't mess around.
I have to be honest, I had to have a quick wardrobe change. I was in a purple shirt and you guys came on in pink. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta change my top. I feel like I'm not representing.
Okay, you guys talk for a minute. I screwed it up. I have to put it in again.
Did you lose the entries?
I did.
Oh, Noelle.
That's okay. I'll just put it in again.
Everybody's here. It's fine.
It's all good. It's all good.
Kelly, your hair.
My hair. Yeah.
Everybody was commenting earlier, and you haven't said anything about it.
Well, it's just, I don't know. Maybe 3 times a year I straighten my hair. So this is the first time this year I've straightened it. I'm on, and I don't know, it'll be curly again as soon as I watch it. It feels funny to me to be straight. I used to straighten it a lot when I was a bit younger because, you know, it wasn't good to have the curls. And now I'm completely happy with my curls. So I'm okay with that. And I don't mind having them. But I thought, well, you know, just for something different, I would straighten it. And it feels very weird. But thank you to everybody that likes it. It doesn't feel like me when I look in the mirror. I feel like somebody else. But so yes,
Okay.
you do have to put your entries in again,
yes,
friends.
Because I screwed up. Sorry. Sorry, you have to type in #KnitSipHappy again. And you know what? I'm going to do all 3 of them at once so that I don't screw it up again.
Do you see how to do it next time, then, Noelle?
I do. I see there's a little thing up in the corner that says draw again.
Draw again. Yes. Yes. Oh, sorry, friends.
Anyways,
that's okay.
Well, they can be typing that in and we can kind of go back to our big screen. And Kelly, why don't you show your socks that you're working on?
Okay. I've got the first one finished. It's so pretty.
Oh, it looks good. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
That color is gorgeous.
So pretty.
So this is, I love this, by the way, this little bit of garter down the side of the heel. I don't think I have any other socks with that. I always think that's such a cool feature. I don't know why I don't do it. I don't do it. But anyway, I love the way this turned out. So this is using the Rose Hill yarns. It's called Chickadee Trail. And it is a little sock set that she sells. And I love her sock sets. So they are 50 grams of the main, 20 grams of the mini. And let me tell you, I don't normally get this close, but I used 27 grams for this sock, friends. 27 grams. I think it must be like these little yarn overs that uses a little bit of extra, like these little shell stitches, because I don't normally use that much in a sock for myself. Or maybe it's because I did the heel. Oftentimes when I'm using these sock sets, I do the heel in a contrast color. So maybe that's the difference too. But anyway, I am right in there. There is no room for error in that second sock. I will be down to the wire.
So do you have more than 27 left if it was only a 50 gram?
It was 54 grams. I measured it. I weighed it before I started. I know, right? I know. And I have 27.4 grams left. So I'm in there. I'm going to have about a gram to spare if I knit exactly the same.
I thought you meant you were total 27 grams, including your contrast. I'm like, oh, you're good.
No.
27 for your main. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I only used, I think, a total of 6 grams for this and the toe. So I'm good with the pink. I've got lots of room with the pink, but I do love this pattern. I really love this pattern. And I love how pretty the speckles are in it.
Yeah.
And I think I was worried when I started because like this is the section I was looking at and I thought, oh, this is going to be a little bit too muddy for the pattern to shine. But I think the pattern looks really good in that sock. I think
I can see your tits in that yarn, Kelly.
Well, thank you, Nancy, for noticing. Okay, Noelle, do you want to do the draw? And then I know you're working on.
I'll do the draw. Yes, I am, but I'll do the draw first. So we will put this back in here and
there's more entries this time.
Yep. Peggy Flowers. Congratulations, Peggy.
Congratulations.
Okay. Do it again. Sweater weather.
Talked about
it and then the last one. Lindsay Matthews.
views. Wow. Congratulations, everybody.
And thank you for playing along.
Yeah, thank you. So let me can take that out now.
If you want to reach out to us after the podcast and to the Knits and Pieces. Oh, let me pull it back up again.
Okay.
Knits and Pieces podcast at gmail.com. The four of you reach out to us. And then we will get that. Let us know your Ravelry
let us know
name,
which one you want.
Yes,
which one you want. Name and which pattern you want, and we will make sure that we get that to you. And for anybody that, if you really like these patterns and you want to get them before the 13th, because then all of the proceeds will go to Canadian Breast Cancer Research, which is an amazing cause. So, and you know, like when we look at research in different countries, like we have to look at research in one country will be shared with another country, and you know, so.
Well, I have to say too, Nancy, I noticed on your Instagram feed, I think it was today, where you were showing pictures of you getting your mammogram. Well, I mean, not getting the mammogram. Let me restate that. Pictures of you at your mammogram appointment. And I thought I was the only person that ever took those pictures, because I think it's important to, you know, I need that little reminder. And I actually got my little reminder in the mail this week too. It's like, your time is up. It's time to go and get that taken care of. But anyway, it's, I think we all need these reminders to be more self-aware of the preventative steps that we have to take to watch out for our health. And I always need that little nudge to go, because it's not fun. It's truly not. It's not a pleasant experience. It's
not, but it's also a privilege that we're able to have that we have access to that care and to that screening to hopefully prevent or catch early any issues. So it was a fluke on my calendar. I looked at it and went, oh my goodness, I'm in the middle of a breast cancer fundraiser. And so I said to the technician when I got into the room, I said, do you mind if I just take a picture of the machine? And I go to the Francophone hospital primarily because that's my primary caregiver is Francophone. And my French is not that good. So she kind of looked at me. I said, I just wanted to take a picture, and I'm trying to explain I'm doing a fundraiser for breast cancer. And she's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, okay, how to explain this easier to a muggle? I'm selling patterns digitally. Anyway, she looked very confused, but she says, sure, go ahead, take the picture.
I mean, I think that more people need to be made aware, because I do think a lot of people still don't go. So,
and if it were left up to me to book my own appointment, I know I wouldn't. But getting that letter in the mail, because, you know, once you go, you're enrolled. And I don't know, is that the same way in
New Brunswick?
New Brunswick? Okay. So in Ontario, you're enrolled in that cancer screening program. And trust me, they get you 3 ways, because they get me for the mammogram, they get you for the pap smear, and then they're going to get you for the other end as well. So they get you all ways coming and going, but you know, early detection is our best defense, I think. So it is definitely good. And so I always like to say, go like support your girls, you know. But anyway,
it's gotta be done.
Okay. So Noelle, you are working on
I am
Nancy's
working
other pattern.
on the tits up socks, and my mammogram is actually tomorrow, so I'm going to bring them with me to work on. Waiting. So these are, and I actually took pictures because it kind of blows out when I bring it up there. So I've got a couple of pictures so you can get a better idea of what they look like. So these are the tits up socks, and these ones are done in Sweet Georgia Tough Love sock in the Rosé Day colorway. And then the little contrast in the heel and some of the stripes is Life in the Long Grass, their sock yarn, and it's called Jezebel. So
that's such a pretty color too.
I love it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's got pinks in it, but it's also kind of got some corals and a little bit of yellow. And then I did take another picture because the first time I've done this heel with the little garter stitch ridge. So, and it was so easy to go down and pick up the stitches. Like I actually just kind of ran my needle through the bumps and then knit them. Like I didn't even have to pick up one at a time. So it was perfect.
Yeah, Romy Hill has had a tutorial on Instagram showing that. running a second needle up through the garter bumps to pick it up. And I thought, well, that's excellent. But they are quite easy to pick up anyway, because it's pretty obvious where you're going. And I like when there's some purl detail in the pattern, like the purl ridges. I like the purl ridges on the garter ridges with the purl stitches on the heel flap. There's something about that I like.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't have them both, because we've got those vertical purl ridges in both.
I'm just reading some of the comments as we go down through here. There's quite a few people in here that have commented either it was early detection through a mammogram. That one, Kathleen, is saying no lump was ever detected, but it was found in the mammogram. There's somebody else saying that Cindy is a lung cancer survivor twice over.
Wow.
That's incredible. And Kim has pointed out that it's important for us to remember that men can also get breast cancer. So that's true too, you know, and we don't think about that. And here's Colette saying that she is 18 years cancer free. Wow. Yay. So honored to have you with us tonight. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I know, and it's nice to hear those stories now, because like 20, 30 years ago, you didn't hear those stories. So I've gotten some amazing messages, and thanking me for doing it, and it's an honor, and I'm so lucky that I can do this. I do this for fun, and the fact that I can then turn this around and give back, it's a joy. It's a complete joy. So it's very commendable of you to do that, Nancy.
Yes,
and
I love it.
Hope we look forward to more patterns in coming years.
Yes. 3 in quick succession for Knit City. I've got some deadline stuff going on, and then.
Well, do you have anything that's coming up that you can show us?
Where did I put that?
Okay, you know what? Do you want to look for that? I want to show this one comment when you're looking. Okay, this is a good one. Barbara says that the first time her sister got her mammo, her father-in-law bought her a bouquet of balloons in case she needed to be reinflated when she got home.
Oh.
I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
All right. So, Knit City, Toronto. We're all excited, and
we are all so excited.
We are all very excited, and staying at the Westin, and it's going to be a grand old time. So I've got 3 collaborations coming.
I bet they have wine there, Nancy.
They do.
Yes,
they do. I've been there.
Yes. I tend to travel quite a lot with my own, because I prefer my own, but depends how I'm traveling. If I'm only flying with hand luggage, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a collaboration with Yarn Indulgences. We're not showing that yarn yet or talking about that one. This one from Ginger Snap we are talking about and showing off, because holy cow.
I'm excited for this.
That's
this
gorgeous.
Is so cute.
Yeah. This is currently in testing, and Kim and Colin from Ginger Snap are going to have 3 different color options, both in the main color and in the rainbow sets. So we've got some really fun combinations you'll be able to make up. Their color themes this year, if you've been looking at Ginger Snap's Instagram at all, they are all rainbows, all neon. Their booth is just going to be so much fun.
Yes.
So that's number 2. Number 3, I just got the yarn for, and it's from the Creative Knitter, who's also based out of Ontario. Not sure what I'm doing on that yet. To be perfectly frank, I thought I did, but then I saw the yarn, and I think I'm pivoting to another option. But everything is getting forwarded to next week. I'm teaching a sock heel clinic class this weekend, so I've been prepping for that, as well as the day job shenanigans. So anything that isn't absolutely critical.
Yes, this is the Fergus. No.
Fiddlehead. Yeah. Fiddlehead Fiber Festival. Yeah.
Okay. And is it like, I know it's in, where is it exactly? I know
it's in Florenceville, Bristol. So we're about an hour and a half northwest of Fredericton. So it's about 3 hours from me, just under 3 hours from where I live.
Okay. And is Florenceville the town that has the covered bridge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They also had a huge eclipse party yesterday with Chris Hadfield there, because they were in Florenceville, Bristol was right smack in the center of totality in the path that came through New Brunswick. So there was great footage they put a balloon up that took all kinds of great pictures. And so Chris Hadfield hosted that. That was in Florenceville, Bristol yesterday. But its claim to fame is potatoes and French fries.
Okay. Well,
That's
okay.
kind of our claim to fame too, because we have French fry trucks that are parked underneath our
Under the
bridge here
bridge.
in Sarnia. And that's
Yep.
kind of the thing when people come to Sarnia. And I have to admit, when I first moved here, everybody talked about these bridge fries. And so down I go under the bridge to get the bridge fries. I didn't like them. I didn't think they were great. I didn't see what all the hoopla was. But now that I'm like a seasoned person and I've lived here for a long time, I do get them once or twice in a summer and I do quite enjoy them. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
So
we used to have a fry trailer back in a previous life.
yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
used to run one, you mean?
We did as
Oh,
a side gig.
wow.
My husband is a trained chef, so we
Yeah.
ran a fry trailer, and yeah, that was hard work.
I bet.
That
Yeah.
was hard work. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, so let's talk about, how did you get started designing socks?
I am a sock knitting nut. If I could only knit one thing ever, it would be fingering weight socks. I could knit them
Okay.
till the end of time. I've knit over 300 of them in less than 10 years. I counted up on Ravelry when I was getting ready to do this class. I thought I should really kind of see if I'm actually, am I qualified to do this?
I think after 300 pairs, yeah.
Yes.
And that gave me a little confidence. I think after 300 pairs, I have enough knowledge to anyway.
How long have you been knitting?
I started knitting when I was a kid. My mom taught me when I was 6 or 7, and I knit a lot during childhood. And then in my 20s, I discovered cross stitch. In the 80s, I did a lot of cross stitching, and then my eyesight started to go to pot, and I came back to knitting with a vengeance, and I didn't look back. And so the first sock design was actually Deborah at Yarn Indulgence's fault. She brought in a new yarn base. We were out at the Bucktouche beach. Bay Bucktouche has a boardwalk that we like to go to. La Violette Yarns used to be right close to there as well. So we would go out quite frequently, sit on the beach and knit and just chit chat. And Deborah brought this beautiful yarn, and it's a marl. So it has that black strand going through it. This isn't it, but this is the same marl yarn. So it has the black
very pretty
going through
really
it.
Pretty.
Yeah, this was my Knit City Montreal color last year. Parade of cones, because Montreal is nothing but a parade of cones in the spring.
Who was selling that one? I missed that one.
Yeah, Deborah Yarn Indulgences had this base, and we were giving away the pattern when you bought the yarn. So
how did I miss that one? I like that color.
It was busy. There was lots of people and lots of booths.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how she brought this yarn, and I'm like, ooh, I want to see these stripes moving. I want to see them doing fun things. So I went home and played with it, and I just wanted to play with it. And I came up with my By the Shore socks.
Okay.
And I sat on them for about 9 months before I wrote it up and I published it. And it went really, really well. I donated the first week. That was for Dementia for Alzheimer's Society. And it just kept on going from there. My next pair was the Bucktouche Boardwalk socks. We stayed with the theme, and I think I'm 18 or 19 pairs in now that I've released. Getting into Lina 52 weeks of socks last year was a bit. I did that. I got into that after 5 months. I think I only had 3 patterns out at that point, and they accepted my design, and I was, what? Pardon?
I have made it now. You're thinking, right? I have made it. I'm now published in a book. Awesome.
Now what?
Yeah.
That was and that was this time last year. The book came out, and I think it released in March, late March. So yeah, I love it. People say, "Oh, are you going to design other things?" No.
But you do knit sweaters. You like knitting sweaters.
I do, but those I like following a pattern, because like you, I love a good schematic, and that takes a lot of math and a lot of spreadsheet experience. I hate spreadsheets with a passion. They don't do what I expect them to do, and they should be logical, and they should do things. But so if that will never, I'm not even, no shawls, no cowls, no sweaters, no.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think shawls might not be too bad, but sweaters are daunting, because there's just so many things that you have to incorporate into it, and so many different body shapes and sizes, and it's would be very it'd be difficult.
I think sweater knitting is, I think it's probably about 30% the art, and about 70% is getting that math in place and being able to communicate that effectively, so that your readers can can replicate your results.
Yeah, but even when you talk about on your podcast, when you do a sweater, a lot of times you're still making adjustments.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like you like to have that pattern as a starting point, but because everybody is different, we still make adjustments to kind of tailor it to. And yeah, it's like to try and get that all into a pattern, or I don't know. I just sweater designers. Well, I mean, any designers, it's like nerve-wracking to get your design out there.
Yes. Where are you at on your sock, Noelle? Not to put you on the spot.
Well, they're done. The socks are done, and they're in here. It's the writing it up. It's like I know how much detail I need, but that might not be. Yeah. So it'll get there. It'll get there. But it's like you said, you did your first one and it was 9 months before you had it down on.
Yeah. And I thought it was good, and then it went into testing, and it was like, okay, yeah. You know, what you feel and see in your head and read in your head, other people don't. So that, you know, there has to be that it's definitely collaborative with the testers.
It's logical that you do this. That may not, everybody's brain doesn't work the same way either.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. And your patterns are very well written. I have to commend you on that. So you must have a great tech editor or a very good group of test knitters as well, because your patterns are very clear. I also like that you include little tips along the way that, you know, which clearly your experience speaking, because sometimes, you know, so my daughter is a new knitter, and she will often ask me a question. She's like, okay, I'm reading the pattern and it says to do this. And she goes, I don't know, like the details of that. And I would never have thought about it the way she's reading it, because to me, okay, I know what this very simple instruction, to me, it's a very simple instruction, but it hasn't been clear to her. And as soon as she tells me she has a question about it, then it's like a light bulb goes off, and I'm like, so if that's not clear to you, that's probably not clear to a lot of people too. And I think there has to be a really delicate balance, especially like as you become more and more experienced as a knitter, as a sock knitter, or as any kind of a knitter, our tendency to leave out the fine details is probably there. And it's hard to capture that exact direction that somebody would need. And, you know, because if you're buying a pattern, you should receive all of that instruction to give you the confidence to have a happily completed project that you can wear with pride. And if a lot of those steps are missing, then you're not going to end up with that same product. So I commend you, because your patterns are very well written.
Thank you.
And if you don't need that much instruction, it's easy to skip through, but it's always nice to have that there for the people that are new. Because the last thing, you know, we talk about this a lot, the very last thing you want is to have, especially a new knitter, become discouraged to the point that they won't pick it up again, or say, oh, I knit a pair of socks 10 years ago and they were a failure, so I won't knit another pair. That is not what we want. We want everybody to have success and pride in their projects. So having a good pattern is just like having the right yarn to work with, the right tools to work with. Having a good pattern, that's that one more tool that you need at your disposal. So I definitely want to commend you on how well written yours are.
Thank you. And, you know, the thing is with a sock, you know, we all have our favorite styles of heels. You know, I've got one of my test knitters. She is a diehard Fish Lips Kiss. And I've made her knit my heels.
I've never done that, because everybody says it's 16 pages long. And I'm thinking, I don't have that kind of time.
It is, but you really only need one. You only need 1.5 pages.
But that's the thing when you talk about the patterns too. Like you want enough information, but you don't want it to be daunting that there's so much information that you won't. Because I'm the same with Kelly with the Fish Lips Kiss heel. It's 13 or 16 pages long. I'll do the heel. I already know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you that too. So you said that you're teaching a heel class. Tell us, give us the inside details. What is your favorite, hands down favorite heel to do?
Heel flap and gusset.
Yeah.
I have a high instep, high arch, high instep, wide foot. So when you look at measuring that heel diagonal from the bottom of your ankle, to this hinge point on the bottom of your heels, that hinge point on your ankle, that measurement for me is 12-inch circumference, 6 inches flat. So I need to have something that's got at least 5.5 inches flat to go across, or else this is getting distorted all to get out, and you can't see the pattern. And so for me, it's that the heel is the biggest part of the engineering in the sock. It's also the part where you can individualize your sock the most. Because like I said, there are people who are diehard German short row heels, hate them, get holes in them every single darn tootin' time. So I do Fischlips Kiss if I have to, or a shadow wrap, because there are some places where a heel flap and gusset just isn't appropriate, because you're getting pooling in the variegated yarn and the gussets. It's messing up your stripe sequence. You want to knit toe up and use a contrast heel, because you've only got 18 grams of yarn for each sock, and you want to use every little scrap, because I'm on a goal to try and knit scraps up this year. So the point of, for me, for this class is, you know, you can have your favorite, but you should also have some other tools in your knitting bag that you can go back to, that situationally, or however your yarn dictates, you can then still pull a successful sock out of your project bag at the end by changing up your techniques a little bit, but also being able to modify. I can't wear a Fischlips Kiss heel as it's knit, as it's written. I have to modify it. I have to add extra stitches. I have to do gusset decreases. Same with an afterthought heel. Great. Use them all the time. I got to modify them every single time. So it's well,
we both do extra rows every time we do an afterthought heel before we start into those decreases. And the number of rows depends on who you're knitting it for.
I've also started putting little short row gussets in the corners to give me, and that gives me about an extra 3/4 of an inch, half to 3/4 of an inch extra in that corner. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. And being not afraid to rip back. If it doesn't work, you're either committing to gift it to somebody who's got different shaped feet than you, or you're ripping it back and trying again. That's the thing with modifying. Anytime you deviate from a pattern you're modifying, you can't be afraid to rip it out.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
And I'm just going to ask here whether anybody
who else just measured their foot after you were talking.
My class, I'm taking.
If anybody has questions.
Yeah, I'm taking 20 measuring tapes with me, because they're all measuring their feet. We're doing key metrics.
That's why I got turned off the Fischlips Kiss heel, because you had to trace outline your foot. I'm like, no, I just want to knit socks.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so
does anybody have a question? If you type it in here, and we can see if Nancy's got an answer for it. So
Absolutely.
while we're doing that, Nancy, what's your opinion on what would you rather knit, toe up or top down?
I tend to default to cuff down, but I've got 2 pairs of toe up on my needles right now.
Okay.
Because I said I'm trying to use up, you know, these spare 35, 40 grams of sock yarn that I don't use when I knit socks, knitting up shorties for my daughter and my son's girlfriend, and for Christmas gift knits. And so I am doing a lot of toe up right now, which, like I said, which necessitates doing a different style of heel if I want to use a contrast. 2 of my patterns I've done toe up, but they have a great gusset, heel turn, heel flap integrated, but toe up, brilliant fit. But you can't do a contrast and you can't adjust it, and it's going to mess up your stripes. And so,
Is that the trees?
Yes, the wintry woods.
Yes.
I had to do it toe up, or else the trees would have been upside down.
Yes, but that's got that heel in it.
Yes, and dune grass is the other one, because I wanted the seed pods to be on the top of the grass, not the bottom of the grass, so they had to be toe up. So I had to figure out that heel, and I love it. It's a great fit.
Okay, so Kathleen had asked, how do you modify an afterthought for a high instep?
So like Kelly and Noelle said, you can just add a number of plain knit rows, depending on how deep you need it. And that's something you're just going to have to try on. So the joy of knitting on Magic Loop or the 2 16-inch circulars is that you can try it on. If you're doing it on a 9-inch and you're going to go down, 9-inch for a heel is the same as doing a toe. You're probably not doing it. What do you guys do for your toes or heels?
I do 2 16s. I don't use
2 16s. And you can.
If I'm depending on the heel type, if I can stay on a 9-inch, I stay on the 9-inch. I would rather do it like heel flap and gusset. I leave it on a 9-inch. I won't come off of that. But if I have to, then I move over to 2 16s. Yes. Yeah.
The key is when you're modifying is you need to be able to try it on.
Yeah.
Because you got to see how it's fitting your feet and play around with it. So you can see how many rows you might need, how many extra rows you might need. And like I said, you can search online. There are resources to insert short row gussets into the corner of an afterthought heel as well. I would also recommend, not tooting my own horn, my rounded toe that's in all of my patterns is amazing for an afterthought. If you do a wedge toe for a heel, it just doesn't fit. Your heel is rounded. So you need a rounded toe / heel to go in for your afterthought. So find a rounded pattern for a toe that you like to knit and use that for your heel as well. That will help your fit a lot as well.
I will admit too, So I always do a rounded toe. My foot is not, we talk about this on the regular. My foot is not shaped that way, but in my mind, that's what I want my foot to be shaped with. So that's the toe I knit. I just like the way it looks. Aesthetically, I like that toe.
Agreed.
But anyway, I do mine a little bit different than you. So, but when I was finishing this sock, I thought, no, I'm going to try Nancy's rounded toe. And I quite like it. It's a little bit longer. Yours finishes at about 2 inches. Mine finishes at about 1.5 inches. So for me today, because I was like running a little tight on my main yarn, this was perfect because I could get a little bit more toe length. I would have had to switch to the toe color whether I did mine or yours, but a very nice rounded toe. So I'll just show that off. It's really, really a good pattern. So a little bit different than the one that I used, but the same concept. But yeah, very nice.
Yeah. A rounded toe just means you're doing, instead of the wedge toes that give you that, you know, weird kind of parallelogram shape, you're doing your decreases every second round. You're doing a plain knit round, a decrease round, a plain knit round, a decrease round. This one, they're spaced out. So they're spaced out at the beginning and then they go rapid decrease at the end.
Yes.
So you're getting that curve. Aesthetically, I just like the look of it. It also does fit my foot better.
Well, if I were being honest, what I should be doing is the anatomical toe, because I have the foot where my first toe, my big toe, is the tallest toe in my foot.
Me too.
So
yeah.
So you still think a rounded toe? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I should be doing an anatomical, but I just don't like the way they look. So
that's it. That's it. I don't like the way it looks, so I won't do it.
It's all about the look.
Absolutely. And the round toe fits fine. It's fine.
Jeanette's taking your class this weekend, and she says, note to self, get a pedicure before she attends your class. Yeah. Socks off for accurate measuring.
You can measure with your socks on.
No. Socks on is fine. Socks on is fine.
Okay, Siobhan says she has small feet but larger ankles. So will a cast on for a small sock be too tight on her leg and ankle? It might be.
Yeah. The joy is with
cast on bigger and go down for the foot.
Yeah.
So
or
like
vice versa.
Especially if you do a heel flap and gusset, right? You can actually decrease more. You don't have to decrease just to the size that the top of the foot was. You can actually go down farther.
Yeah.
So.
You can also do a shorter heel flap.
Yes.
You can knit the heel flap for the smaller size and take 2 or 4 rows out of your heel flap. That makes your heel flap shorter, means you're picking up less gusset stitches. It's going to narrow your foot and tighten everything up.
Yeah. So, and then someone asked, do you go up a needle size when you do color work in your socks?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And I also knit on a 9-inch circular. I knit 9-inch circular, mostly magic loop, 9-inch circular, depending on the pattern. And color work socks is definitely 9-inch. I knit looser on a 9-inch. My gauge is different. So I just have to go up to a 2.5. I did my first full all over color work over Christmas. And I was able to just use a 2.5 millimeter needle. It doesn't have the negative ease I'm used to in a sock, but it fits. So I'm taking that as a win.
Okay. And Cheryl would like to know if you've ever knit the umbrella toe.
I have. I'm not a fan.
Like
No,
I've done it.
I've done
it too, and I wasn't really a fan of it either. And plus, you've got more pressure points where you've got those rows of decreases.
And I just found it too conical. And she also has the same. She uses that same pattern as a heel in her afterthought sock. And I tried it, and they are probably one of the worst fitting pair of socks I own. The heel is always sliding off, and it's underneath my arch of my foot. So again, foot architecture, we're all different. We're all unique.
That's right.
And what fits for somebody isn't going to fit for everybody. And that's why there's so many different options.
Yeah. And when we look at like even when someone asks what size needles, but again, to answer that, it's like everybody's tension and everybody knits different. So like, what do you normally call for?
I'm a 2.25 is what gets gauge for me. So I always put the gauge in the pattern. So it's an 8 stitch over 1 inch. So 32 stitches over 4 centimeters or 4 inches, 10 centimeters is what is standard for my tension. But, you know, if it's for your first time knitting a sock and knitting at that tight gauge, then you're going to either have to knit a swatch or just dive in and go. And if you're not happy with it, you're going to have to rip back or you're going to gift the socks. It's
And
Okay,
it's just like the sweater. It's once you find that those numbers for yourself, you can, so, you know, it's the same thing. So like, all right, a pattern could be written for a heel, flap, and gusset, but if an afterthought heel is your best heel and it fits you, then switch that out and you can, you know, just knit the sock down plain. So there's options. Like once you get more comfortable with your sock knitting, you can switch things up to make it the best fit for you. And so that's, and I think, I mean, that's part of the appeal, I think, for a lot of people with the socks is because it is a smaller, well, even though it sounds like it's a smaller project, there are 10,000 stitches in there. It's a lot of stitches, but even though it's a smaller project, and then the fact that you have that ability to switch things up kind of gives you, like, you're the master of your knitting. And I mean, and that's true in every circumstance. Just because a pattern says one thing, that does not mean you have to do that thing. You should be doing what is going to work for you. So try, if you're a new sock knitter, try all the things. Just go out there and find out what is your favorite or your best fit, and then move on from there.
I knit some stinkers way back. I knit some terrible socks.
Me too.
Because I wanted to try different things. So I was trying a whole bunch of different techniques and heel styles, and, you know, some, like I said, the umbrella didn't work for me. Sweet tomato heel, which I thought was going to be great for me because it fits a wide foot, didn't work for me. So it's knowing your metrics, knowing the architecture of your foot, how you like to wear your socks, the kind of ease you like. You know, not everybody likes super sucky in negative ease. I do, because they stay up. But everybody, again, it's, you know, we're all different beings, and your sensory capabilities and awareness of how you want to have things touch your body, we're all different that way. And this is the joy of our craft.
Even it depends like what type of...
people say they don't even like the stocking stitch,
right?
The ridges. So they actually knit so that that's on the outside, so that the smooth stocking out part is on the bottom of the, but
that's
you
called
don't know that, so you've knit them and worn them, right?
That's called a princess sole.
Oh, is it?
Princess in the pea. Because you can feel every little thing. So you just invert it and turn and make your stocking outside the inside.
Kim wants to know, what toe up cast on do you like?
Judy's Magic Cast On. I've done Turkish and it is easy, but for some reason I just automatically default to Judy's Magic Cast On. And YouTube is your friend whenever you're trying any of these new techniques. Just Google it. Very Pink Knits tends to be my favorite. She tends to do a lot of super slow-mo videos as well. So whenever you're trying these new techniques, Very Pink Knits is a great place to start. If she doesn't have it, then I'll go looking a little further afield. But Judy's is my favorite.
Okay. Darcy, and what about when you do toe up, what do you use for a cast off?
Surprisingly stretchy. The Jenny's surprisingly stretchy. The trick for me with that one is to not get the flare. You don't have to make that loose. You just make it your normal tension, and it won't flare, but it still gives you the stretch.
Okay.
So don't leave those loops that you're putting over the needle loose. Snug them in a little bit, and you're still getting that extra stretch from the extra yarn, but it's not flaring out the top of your sock.
Darcy wants to know, so she says, so the bottom of the heel to the top of the foot instep 5 inches, would that be considered a normal instep?
Normal is a difficult word. 5 inches. I
have a high instep, so I know that like I have a high instep. I have a narrow foot, but I have a high instep. So I always have to make sure that I've allotted for that. So to me, that sounds that's definitely a flatter instep than mine for sure.
So there's a second measurement you can take. So we talked about this heel diagonal coming from the front of where your ankle hinges to the bottom of where your heel touches the floor. So that's your heel diagonal. The other one you can take is right again where that ankle hinges and wrap it around to the front of your heel, and that gives you your instep measurement.
Okay.
So that's a good number to have as well. And then you can use your number of stitches that you're getting. Whatever you've got for your heel, if you're doing a heel, flap, and gusset, you'll have the number of stitches on your back needle for your heel that you're working. You can do a little math and see if that's enough stitches for your appropriate gauge. If it's not, you're going to need to make some adjustments. So I recommend, what I'm going to recommend this weekend, if you're in my class this weekend, you're getting sneak peeks. I'm going to recommend you measure a pair of socks that you own. That either you don't like the fit of or you love the fit of, and see what those metrics are compared to how your foot is, because then that tells us gauge, that tells us the amount of ease that you like, and it's just going to give us some information that we know to go and to get you that fit that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it, unfortunately, is going to be trial and error. It's going to be tried on. Does it feel good? Does it fit? Is it stretching out the front? If the answer is no, carry on. If the answer is yes, rip it back and go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Susan asks, obviously she's not anywhere near you to take your class in person. Have you ever given any consideration to doing virtual classes in small groups?
Possibly.
Okay.
This is the first time I'm teaching this class. Last year I did a quick one on modifications of garments. This is the first time I'm doing this. So my hope is I'd like to teach it in person 1 or 2 more times this year. I've applied to a couple of different other festivals in the Maritimes. We'll see how this all goes, and I will let you know. Stay tuned. I may be looking at Noelle and Kelly for some StreamYard experience.
Happy to help. Happy to help.
Yeah.
That's very,
very
fantastic.
user friendly.
And they do have a webinar
don't
program
follow
too.
the directions.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. Well, first of all, again, Nancy, we want to thank you for coming on, and we want to let our viewers know. Normally, when we do a giveaway and we do a live, we usually do something for the people that watch after that can't join us in the live chat. So Nancy has generously is going to put together a package of her patterns. And so for anybody that's watching after or anybody that wants to go in and watch again, if you go in and Nancy, I think we should have them go look at your patterns and tell us which one is their favorite.
Yep.
So if you go into Ravelry, check out Nancy's patterns. They're beautiful. And just like, let us know which one's your favorite. And then we will draw next week before we do the show, and we will have a winner for that pattern prize. 5 patterns.
Yes, please.
Okay. Wow. Can I enter? Anyways, that's very generous, Nancy. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And anybody else, remember, if you want the Titty Gaga or the Tits Up socks, that fundraiser is still, fundraiser that Nancy is generously donating the proceeds from it until April the 13th at midnight. What time zone? Atlantic?
Yeah, I'll be drinking with my friends at Fiddlehead Fiber Festival. So it'll be it'll be Sunday morning, but we'll say midnight Atlantic Standard Time, but it'll be more like 10 o'clock probably on Sunday morning.
Okay. So
I like a nice round number. Sometimes if I'm not quite at the number I want to reach, I'll just leave it a little longer. So
very good. Very good.
Well, yeah. But yeah,
and we will make sure that all of the ways that you can find Nancy are going to be linked below this video as well. And if you don't already watch her podcast, you definitely want to start, because she's a fun podcaster. How could she's living in the East Coast? How could you not be a fun podcaster when there's wine involved in the East Coast?
And she owns a wine store.
And she owns a wine store. Yes,
it's a professional issue, and I still have wine left. I talk too much because there's still wine left, or I had a really big glass, one or the other.
Yeah. Well, and I also can't wait to hang out with you in Toronto, because that's coming up pretty soon too. And it'll be really nice to catch up with you in person.
Yes.
I mean, these are very fun. And we say this week after week, like there's about 550 people in here. We would love to be in a room with all 550 of you. It would be amazing, and it would be the best time ever. And we thank you so much for joining us here week after week. And it's been great. We didn't know how this was going to work out to bring extra people into the studio, but I think it's worked out really well.
It's fun,
You're a third guest that we've had, and we've loved every minute of it. And as you see, they are a very warm and welcoming group in here, and they just love them. I'm sure they're sick of seeing our two faces. They're love to see somebody else.
There's lots of thank yous to you in here, Nancy.
I'll just say thank you for all the questions. That was great.
And again, we would like to thank you for coming on. It's been great, and for your generous donation of the podcast. And remember, everybody, if you want to go in after, or anybody watching after, just check out Nancy's patterns. Let us know which one you like, and you will have a chance to win a bundle of 5 patterns next week. And and watch Nancy's podcast, and you'll get updates on how the fundraising efforts go for the socks. So.
Yeah, I'm due to podcast, not this, probably in about a week and a half, I'll be due to podcast. So I'll have the grand total there, but I'll also announce it on Instagram when I do the donation on the 14th, 15th, whenever I tally up and do the math.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So
thank you guys.
Yes, thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us. We're so happy that you choose to spend Tuesday nights with us. And for anybody that watches after, we love that you take the time to, because there's a lot of podcasts out there. So we're very thankful that you take the time to watch us. So thanks everybody, and bye for now, and happy knitting.